I feel good. If you have a drink, would you please put it in the air? That party last night was awfully crazy. I wish we taped it. I danced my face off and had this one girl completely naked. Drink my drink and smoke my but my good friends is all I need. Pass out at 3, wake up at 10, go out to eat, then do it again. Man, I wanna go to college for the rest of my life. Sip Bankers Club and drink Miller Lite. On Thirsty Thursday and Tuesday night ice. And I can get pizza $1 a slice. So fill up my cup, let's get muffed up. I'm next on the table, who want what? I am champion at beer pong. Allen Iverson, Akeem Olajuwon. Don't even bounce, not in my house. Better hope you make it, otherwise you naked. Time isn't wasted when you're getting wasted. Woke up today and all I could say is, that party last night was awfully crazy. I wish we taped it. I danced my face off and had this one girl completely naked. Drink my drink and smoke my but my good friends is all I need. Pass out at 3, wake up at 10, go out to eat, then do it again. Man, I love college. Hey. I love drinking. Hey. I love women. Man, I love college. I can't tell you what I learned from school, but I could tell you a story or two. Yeah, of course I learned some rules, like don't pass out with your shoes on, and don't leave the house till the booze gone, and don't have sex if she's too gone. When it comes to condoms, put 2 on. Then tomorrow night, find a new joint. Hold the beer bong, nothing wrong with some fun, even if we did get a little bit too drunk. Time isn't wasted when you're getting wasted. Woke up today and all I could say is, that party last night was awfully crazy. I wish we taped it. I danced my face off and had this one girl completely naked. Drink my drink and smoke my but my good friends is all I need. Pass out at 3, wake up at 10, go out to eat, then do it again. Man, I love college. Hey. I love drinking. Hey. I love women. Hey. I love college. Now, if everybody would please put their drink as high as they can. As high as they can, and repeat after me. Do something crazy, do something crazy, do something crazy, do something crazy. Freshmen, 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 freshmen.
Do something crazy, do something crazy, do something.
It's one of the most important chants in human history, bro.
The main event, WHIP. It's different today. We got an American rapper in the building, perhaps known for his single, I Love College. We are a college radio station from Morrisville, Pennsylvania. He went to Westchester, just down the road.
Truth.
We got Asher Roth in the building with us.
Gentlemen, how you doing?
Hey, we really appreciate this. We know we're not a music show. We're sports.
All good.
But
it's our last show.
It's our last show.
Sports and entertainment.
Sports
they go together.
Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I saw you at I met you at the Union trash cleanup in Northern Liberties.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me a little bit about your relationship with the Union and how you really got involved with that, because you're in music and you're helping out this soccer team.
Yeah, I mean, soccer doesn't have all the commercial breaks, It's a beautiful thing. So I'm into soccer, and the Union and Alyssa were really cool about helping us out with our community program, Trash Club. And they brought the squad over to come help us pick up Cruz Park and clean up Philly a little bit. But for the most part, I just support American soccer. I hope it does well. I support the Philadelphia Union, and in return, they supported me, and I met you.
Yeah, hey, it worked out great.
There you go.
And you said you did a little documentary on the fan base?
Oh, yeah, man. So Sons of Ben, and soccer fans in general, but Sons of Ben really stick out because they're just wild ones, but they're also really loving as much as they are aggressive. And I think that's kind of Philly sports fans in general, is they get a bad rap, and for the most part, they just really care.
It's passion.
Yeah, it's passion. So that's something to keep in mind for people who are visiting here. we're not savages. We're actually really amazing people who just care.
Yeah. And were you in Philadelphia when the Birds won the Super Bowl? I know you're a Niners fan.
Yeah.
You were saying how you were a Niners fan.
Yeah, and I celebrate the city. I mean, basically, my father grew up on the West Coast and was like, look, you're a Niners fan and you're a San Francisco Giants fan, and I don't care about anything else. And
that's kind of how it works. With the fathers, they just say, this is what you are, and
tough.
You don't got an option.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants actually worked out with all the World Series, but at the same time, those seasons are torture. Like, the Giants win, like, one-run games, and it's like 3-2, and it's like whatever it may be. And so, but, it's been nice to come back to Philly and really see the Sixers' success now has been, like, really dope to watch them put that together, even though Colangelo tried his best to screw that up. And the Flyers, I actually love the Flyers, man, and my appreciation for hockey. It's kind of the same thing with my appreciation for soccer. Those two sports I appreciate more the older I get.
Well, hockey is also, the Flyers fans are the most passionate in hockey. I don't know, Sam, have you been to a Flyers game?
No, I haven't. The tickets are cheap, though. I want to go. I think, like, if you look at the craziest fans, you have real soccer fans or football fans, you have hockey fans, and you have, like, Oakland Raiders fans.
Right.
No, when you go to the Union games, do you see, like, are those fans, because I don't go to a lot of Union games, I've only been to a couple, are those fans like real soccer fans, like no...
I think so, man.
Like,
I mean,
you know the difference between I'm there to be there, or like this is business. Like I'm here for.
Yeah, I mean they have the section that's specifically for the Sons of Ben, and they are standing and singing the whole time, and that's a very extreme way to watch a game. You know what I mean?
It's no joke.
Yeah, I kind of like to go and
you gotta
hang
eat your
and
food
chat
before you go there. I mean, you gotta have energy for that.
Do you like going to football games, NFL football games? Do you guys enjoy going to football games?
Sometimes it's tougher to be in that environment just because of the way it's set up. Like, you can't follow the game the same way.
Exactly.
It's a lot easier to watch on TV, but like it's still like the environment of being at the game is something special.
Yeah, the environment's a very important part. The reason why soccer games are nice is because there's not a lot of start and stop. Whereas when you go to the NFL games, it's like it's constantly starting and stopping.
Right.
It's a little tough to watch. It is made for TV. So, yeah, I mean, there's real fans there that are interested in the game because the game is consistently going on.
Right. So I want to segue into a little bit into your career, and
that's what I was hoping to get to.
We want to know, like, my whole thing, my last 4 years at college, what I understand is that you work hard and you put yourself in the right situations and the right opportunity, you'll be able to excel. And I kind of, from doing research on you and watching you on YouTube and reading you on the internet, it seems like you put these verses together in college of the I Love College, and you started releasing it. And I want to know how it blew up, who was involved. I know Scooter Braun found you, and just talk about it.
I mean, it's loaded, right?
From
I mean, this is so... On 420, we celebrated 10 years of Asleep in the Bread Aisle, which was my debut album. There was just one kind of step before that, which was The Greenhouse Effect, Volume 1. And that's kind of where it really all started. So, like, things have changed a little bit. So now your generation is a little bit more of, like, SoundCloud rappers, right? You kind of hear that genre, whatever you want to call it. And so my era was the blog rapper era. This is how journalists break it down and compartmentalize things for everybody.
So blogging was huge.
Blogging
is it still
was huge,
or
I think
blogging's big in a different way.
Yeah, and it's like, it's like journalism, right? There are people who, the Mother Joneses of the world, there's real journalism going on, but right now everything's so like quick, right. And like headlines and a tweet or whatever it is. But there's still some journalists who opinion people hold in high regard. So for me, you wanted to get on some good blogs, whether it be Nah Right, Two Dope Boys. This guy Giant is actually the one that started to really push for me in the beginning. But yeah, man, like for me, it was just rap was very fun and an enjoyable thing. It was something that we did to socialize, and that was the spirit of my music. And I think when Greenhouse Effect Volume 1 came out, 2008, 2009, people really were drawn to that. We're like, I relate to this. This person speaks and acts the way I do. And, I Love College really tipped it over the edge because it really was a resonating, relatable record that everybody, even if you didn't rap, was something you could always remember the lyrics to and relate to what everybody was going through. So I think relatability was kind of my first, hook, so to speak.
It's something you kind of started to allude to, but Like what was the moment where you felt like that, like you really started to get into music? What was kind of
So I
Like
think
it started out as a hobby, right?
Yeah.
And then-
Are you talking about making music or music as a listener?
both.
Okay, so I mean, typically around 12, 13, 11, 12, 13, you're starting to choose your own music.
Sure.
And rap
You're not
music,
just listening to what your parents or your siblings or your friends
you
are
got
like.
it.
You got your own
it. And
taste.
so you're doing your own thing, and like, you know, mine, you know, like any white kid in the burbs, it was like, you know, Dave Matthews Band and Jay-Z or whatever it may be. So, and I was telling the girls this earlier, like the reason why rap music to me was so amazing was because they sampled music, and so you would learn about the music that the producers were sampling. And so you started to learn about music as a whole, classic rock, jazz music, and all of these things. So that's why rap music was so special to me, and then just the feel of it, right? So, you know, Mos Defs and the Talib Kweli's of the world, and the Smith and Wessons of the world, and Jay Dillas of the world, that you can just, at the same time, ambiance music that you can just throw on in the background and be like, this is great. Right. So yeah, around that time, 12, 13, I was discovering it. I also was emulating it. You know, I was acting like I was a rapper. If you see 13-year-old pictures of me, it's like backwards hats and like cubic zirconium earrings, and you're just kind of, you're still very impressionable and
Morrisville's finest.
Morrisville's finest, bro. So yeah, I mean, that right around that time, and then you just grow, and then you just grow into it, and you start to find your own identity, and that's something that goes on for your entire life. And for me, rap music was a way that, and like, you know, the cannabis world was ways that I was meeting people, and these are how I made friends. And you know, lucky for me, the right people started to pay attention to what I was doing because I felt like I was doing it for the right reasons. I wasn't doing it on some look at me, you know what I mean, or oh, yo, I want to be a huge star. Those were never my intentions, and the right people started to pay attention, and people who can make moves. And when it did turn into some sort of a business, is actually uncomfortable for me, and it started to like take away from the spirit of it all. And you're making decisions for different reasons.
I was gonna ask, is it important when you get to that level? Because I saw you're on Jimmy Fallon, and you really like blew up. I mean, everybody knows who you are. Everybody knew who you were at the time, and
I wish I was
it
listening.
just-
I was in third
like, you
grade.
have
when
no
the
idea.
radio
We're here
would-
now, you know.
Yeah,
We're here
right?
Here now, you were in third grade.
I
but
was
let me
listening to
tell you,
Black
like,
Eyed Peas in third
it was the
grade.
biggest.
There you go.
It was really the biggest hit, and I was in sixth grade, and I know that. And it's like, is it important to have the right people around you when you get to that level? Is it important?
Yeah.
And how do you differ from, you know, these people come up with you when you're just a normal kid at Westchester, you know, being a moron, smoking your weed, drinking your alcohol, doing whatever you're doing, going to class, and then you get really big and you're on Jimmy Fallon. Like, how did that mentally, like, affect you and your decision making and all that kind of aspects to it?
Well, I think it's a testament to the people that I had around me. Granted, there was a couple people from the business side that had specific expectations, but because I had good people around me, because I came from a good family, or, you know, for what it's worth, a stable family, I was able to, you know, have that in my corner. But it all comes down to what you want to do.
Right.
What do you want to accomplish in it? Some people want to get into the music industry and make a bunch of money. We're seeing it now with a lot of the interviews that people have. What are you talking about? We're just getting rich. That's all we're doing. We're getting money here. And like, that's one way to play the game. And for me, I wanted to play the game a little bit different. Again, it was more about social, hanging out, and it was more about experiencing things. And the fact that I get to go to Europe next month on May 6th and go travel and do 13 shows and connect with people who don't even speak English as a first language, that to me is an amazing thing.
That's
but
the
I don't
coolest
need to
thing.
be doing it in stadiums for 50,000 people. That's a little much. You know, I feel like you start to create this bubble around yourself where people behave with you differently, and now you've become just like a, you know, a parody of yourself. Like
Right.
your character kind of folds in over itself. And it was always very important to me to be kind of like planted here on earth and not like, and be a part of it, instead of just like make it all about me.
Right, and that is so cool because you don't see that ever. And it's so nice to hear somebody say that, because now, like you're saying, you get rappers and musicians who do make it all about themselves.
Right.
And that's with entertainment just in general.
Well, you know, you were telling me off air about comedy, and comedy is what's really important about really great comedy is it's amazingly observational. and you're being able to observe what's going on around you and laugh at how absurd it is.
Right. And that's all my comedy too. It's all observation.
For sure. And I have a little bit, I'm not like a comedian or anything like that, but I have those observation skills where like when I walk into it, when if somebody else walks into the room, it's not so much judgment, it's just like you take notice of what's going on around you. And I think what happens in the music business and fame in general and stuff is you become very self-absorbed, and so you're not as observational in regards. You think everything's happening to you, and so that to me is a very dangerous place to get to, because you always need to be living outside of yourself and be part of it all, and it's not all about you. So yeah, man, trying, as I grow up, not taking things personally, letting things just happen as they may. Those are the things that I'm happy that I didn't sacrifice in order to, whatever it may be more famous, have a bigger house. Those just things, not saying they're wrong, it's just not important to me.
Very, very cool. Very cool. We love that. Right?
It's real, though, man.
It's real because people don't really keep it real like that.
But it doesn't make any money, bro. Me telling you all this stuff, like, yeah, sure. Like, what am I going to get into, like, the self-help business or something like that? Right. Like, even that is a money-making scheme. Like, a lot of these people are on Instagram or whatever, like, wake up and grind and all this stuff. They're not even doing that. Like, go back to sleep after they do that or stuff. And there's not, like, it's not a template for, like, oh, this is how you live your life. Everybody is completely different. Some people are inherently lazy, and, like, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with sleeping. Sleeping's actually super tight, and you should get like 8. You know what I mean?
Phenomenal.
Like, and we have an entire world telling us, get up, you gotta work 40 hours a week. Oh, if you're not working, you ain't doing anything. It's just like, nah, bro, like, drink water. You know what I mean? Like, go, like,
I always tell my friends, I'm like, I'm gonna go pound 4 coffees and maybe take an Adderall before I go study. I'm like, dude, just drink water. Take a nap.
Get a nap. Yeah.
Chug some water and get to it.
That's real.
Go eat some food.
Question I have for you is, like, when you first get started, a lot of these like SoundCloud rappers, when they first get started, it's always the next song I release is gonna be the one to blow up, or I'm making music and I'm not there yet, but I'm gonna be. Did you feel like before I Love College, when you were like first getting into it, you had that like, I'm not there yet, but eventually I'll get there? Like, what was that mindset of, I'm making music, but it's not big yet. It's not like I want to be somebody.
Sure. I didn't have the same influences that you guys have, like, right in front of your face. Like, Instagram wasn't a thing yet. It wasn't all about kind of like likes and clicks just yet.
But don't you think that's good, though?
No, it's great, and that's what I mean.
It wasn't like that.
Yeah, I think it's really good because you could still, now people I think are doing things, like, if you notice, music is kind of repetitive, and like the mainstream stuff is very trendy, and that's kind of always been the case, but things really do sound the same. Like, almost all the drums I hear are the same. So for me, I never
Trap drums is the shit that's hot now.
All of it's the same.
And that's what people are responding to. Like, when we get really into it, we're talking like frequencies and things of that, like, everyone's tapped into kind of the same thing. So once you do something completely different, people are like, whoa, I don't like that. I've been tuned to a specific frequency.
Or it starts a new trend.
Yeah, or hopefully. That would be the hope. But there's a lot of reasons why some of the best stuff goes unheard, But, like, to your point about did I have those pressures? Not so much, because I was kind of in my own world, and I wasn't necessarily looking to, like, the SoundCloud stuff and all that jazz has kind of made stars of people overnight. And that's a crazy thing to see to be a reality,
Yeah, I think that all of this is extremely interesting. With music and sports, I feel like it's in the same kind of bubble, entertainment. And, something we were kind of talking about before, off air, and we thought we'd talk about, is if you think that the cannabis, because I know you're involved with cannabis, and if you think it would help athletes if it were legalized, especially in football, because we see in football now all these guys, they're taking some cannabis and it's illegal, and they get in trouble for it, and they get suspended for games, or they get fined $50,000. In your opinion, coming from that side of the world a little bit, can you just talk about?
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely medicinal health benefits to the use of cannabis and hemp, and CBD is a huge thing that's blowing up right now because it's like anti-inflammatory. Yes, the answer to that question is absolutely yes. But federal law and everything, it's extremely complicated. So we can't really get like too deep into it, But for the most part, it's something that a lot of these they're looking at sports betting. Why aren't we looking at cannabis? Like, it's just because it's kind of a money thing. I don't want to get like hog-tied once I get out of here, but pharmaceutical companies are a really real thing. They kind of dope you up and take this will help kill the pain. So I do think we should start exploring a little bit more natural remedies to some of these issues, specifically football players. I know they need the little bit tougher drugs because they're out there legitimately sacrificing their bodies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're NBA players,
they're getting hit hard in there, and it's like, I don't know, because I personally never been banged up. I don't know about you.
I played football for 2 years in 7th and 8th grade, so I know exactly what they're going through.
Does it really hurt much?
That's actually the first thing I learned about football, because I played basketball my whole life, and it's like I'm just going out there, like, you're not really getting hit the same way, and that was the thing that was the most nerve-wracking for me getting into football, was like the hitting. And you got to realize, once you get out there, like, you're going to get little hits and your arm's going to hurt for like a couple minutes and it's going to kind of go away. You're like, your stomach's going to hurt. You're going to get weird hits and get banged up in weird ways and it's going to go away. But in the NFL, like, obviously it's a different level. Like, you're getting hit much, much, much harder. And it's such a different world that, when you talk about cannabis helping athletes, like, that's a real problem. That's a real thing that's happening that a lot of people aren't recognizing. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine getting laid out by one of those dudes last night in the draft?
No.
I mean, did you see those guys?
I
was having a whole conversation the whole time. I was like, do you see these guys?
So if you were a running back for one play, current skill set, everything like that, how many yards do you think you get on one carry? You get the offensive line and everything. I'm
going to be honest. I'm losing yards. I'm getting stuffed.
I think
You don't think you get a positive yard?
I don't think I'm getting a yard. I mean, I don't. Do you think you're getting a yard?
I think you got a fullback and
I'll
everything.
Get myself to the line of scrimmage.
Chris may get a yard. Chris, I mean, he's got the best shot.
Could you get a yard?
I think I can get like 3 to 5.
Wow, 3 to 5. He's getting the first down. That's amazing. Yeah, I'm with you, bro. I'd probably lose yards and get hurt on that play.
That'd end my career on the
just
first
one play for sure.
Oh man. Well, we appreciate you for coming in.
For sure, man.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We did have a blast. We are going to just blast your music for the rest of college.
Beautiful.
And
you guys are finishing up, right? Is this your last show?
This is my last show. He's just getting started, though.
Oh,
yeah,
cool. Passing the torch.
Yeah.
Passing the torch.
That's how it's going down.
That'll be great.
So this is the main event. WHIP, Ethan Miller, Sam Cohn. Had the guy Asher Roth in the building with us. Great conversation. Appreciate him for coming in. And we'll be back right after these messages.
It's all about putting on riding out. My mind's out front you with that work out in front of work. He say want that head up, but we don't fight fair, bruh. Catch you slipping from your backside, then knock you out. Ace gon' stump you out, then Buddha gon' stump you out. Have mama ever seen you with a busted eye and busted mouth? Nah, Millie poking out, folk busy poking out.
WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station.
I got my eyes on you. You're everything that I see. I want your high love and emotion endlessly. I can't get over you. You left your mark on me. I want your high love and emotion endlessly. 'Cause you're a good girl and you know it.
Like the idea of listening to one song.
You act so different around me.
Do your laundry or whatever,
Yep.
and then be like, "Whoa, I really like this album."
Yeah.
But yeah, man, totally to your point about like the pressures and stuff. It's a single.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I'm 19 years old, and this is how I live united. I've always been kind of a computer geek, and I found a way to use those skills to help the homeless in my community. For people facing hard times, computer skills and a basic resume are so important. It may seem like a small thing, but it makes a huge difference in people's lives. So with United Way, I created a program where I work with the homeless. Together, we go through their whole job history, write a resume, and then save it on their very own USB drive. We provide workbooks and training certificates. I even budgeted for cupcakes so we can celebrate as a class when one of our people gets a job. That's huge. When somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." That's what Living United feels like to me. My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
all these bright-eyed honeys. Oh yeah, you know who you are. Keep me up till the sun is high, till the birds start calling my name. I'm addicted and I don't know why. Guess I've always been this way. All these roads steer me wrong, but I still drive them all night long, all night long. Oh, you young wild girls, you make a mess of me. Yeah, you young wild girls, you'll be the death of me, the death of me. Oh, you young wild girls, no matter what you do. Yeah, you young wild girls, I always come back to you, come back to you.
WHIP, the main event. We're back. Ethan Miller, Sam Cohn. Chris, sports director, came in with us for right now. He's going to come chop it up. And we got, luckily, our guy didn't leave, Asher Roth. Can't get him out of the building.
I can't
He just-
leave, man. I'm here.
He just wants to hang out all day long. 12:15 is the cutoff.
Yeah, Sam and I are starting our new show next week we start our new show.
Your own podcast.
Yeah, we just
Get that
recommend
I could produce it if you guys want. I could
You
do
should.
maybe
Yeah,
a little
I should
digital
have brought
media.
Asher on my podcast.
yeah, we'll recommend books and albums the whole time, and then we'll talk sports.
So
It'll
you're
last like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Talk
yeah.
sports,
We'll
but
just
the
make
music
our
and
picks,
books
yeah.
back and forth.
you're a Federal Donuts guy.
Federal Donuts, dude, for sure.
It's good.
Yeah,
I mean,
It's
I've only had it once.
it's donuts and fried chicken. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
What
wah.
could you go wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
Chris, you a fan of those Federal? Have you
Never
Federal?
had it.
Never had
Ah,
it.
From the area,
Maybe
so
you guys
I've
should go
never
on a little
experienced
date.
It's
you
not
two.
too far. I'll take you there for
That's,
sure.
that sounds
Do
perfect.
you eat gluten?
Yeah.
Oh, then you're good.
Yeah.
There
I'll
you
eat
go.
anything, honestly.
You're gluten free?
Yeah.
Ah.
My girlfriend has celiac disease, so I understand.
Oh. How long
Finally,
you?
somebody that's empathetic.
How long have you
Yeah.
and your girlfriend
Most-
been together?
Well, we've kind of been on and off, but so we've met 10 years ago. Then I had to move to Atlanta, and so we had to go our separate ways. And then when I got back to Philadelphia, our story really.
I feel like there's some really some good conversation
There's plenty, bro.
with
that's
your
why
girlfriend.
That's
I
why
think
we're
there's
starting
there's
this
something
new.
there
Oh, to speak with.
to speak upon
yeah,
this.
to speak
So
with
you met her
her.
10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and was this before your album? After your album?
So I met her when I was in school.
Okay, so she's from the beginning. She didn't just hop on
Yeah,
the wagon.
she's a real one. Yeah.
She's a real one. So she didn't just hop on the wagon
No,
when you
not
got
at all.
big.
She's
and-
the best, man, and really patient with me. And again, whenever you're kind of in this show business, so to speak, it's a weird game, and you really have to have a good relationship with yourself if you're in a relationship with somebody who's in it. And she does, man. She's the greatest. She's the greatest.
Yeah, because I feel like I could get a little testy because if you meet someone and then you got to go on tour and
for
you got to
sure.
do all that stuff.
Who's that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and even
who's
if you're
that?
just
in a picture,
yeah,
like who's that?
yeah,
You're like, what do you mean who's that?
Yeah.
This is my job.
yeah, right.
So that must have been a little.
Well, again, man, we had to separate when I was first starting because it was I was
lots of drama.
yeah, lots of soap opera for sure.
It's unbelievable.
Maybe it'll be in the documentary.
Okay.
When's the documentary coming out?
I don't know. We got to produce it on our show that's coming up.
yeah,
we're
get started.
starting this documentary.
Well, that's pretty cool. So you got this documentary coming out. I saw you post it on Instagram.
Oh yeah, the real stuff. So, yeah, 10 years ago, in I Love College, that part of that song, I wish we taped it.
Yeah, I wish we taped.
Yeah,
it.
well, we actually ended up taping it. So we have all of our archive footage from the last 10 years, and so we've been slowly putting it out. It's about 8 minutes long. It's not gonna go to Sundance or anything, but it's just for a lot of people to see and tap back into a lot of people that basically grew up with us. For lack of better words.
Pretty cool, cause a lot of that time when you're going through this, it moves so fast.
Yeah.
And during it, were you guys? I mean, I don't know. 10 years ago, what was it? How did you record things? What was it? It
What are you at? I
iPhone.
was
He had
on
a Walkman.
1920.
He walked around with a
No,
Walkman.
Yeah.
What were you using? Because it wasn't an iPhone.
No, I mean
2009 wasn't an iPhone.
I see what you're saying.
Like,
Recording
everything's
video.
on Snapchat and Instagram.
It
now,
was
it's
called
like-
a flip cam.
And you just recorded with that? I mean, how was the picture?
Yeah, so it's it wasn't I remember the first version wasn't in HD, and so the second one did, and there was I think it was called a minnow. You could Google it, look it up. It's
Okay.
amazing. It's actually probably the quickest draw when it comes to videotaping. So if you're trying to get altercations or police brutality. The flip cam is still pretty a good scrap. I'm taping already, you know.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but that was I was like, what do you mean? What were we using to record?
Oh, you guys are putting me on the spot. I mean, I don't know.
It doesn't even need to be a question. It could be a straight comment,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
how
we're
you're
looking
feeling right now. You know?
We're just looking for
throwing anything
hanging
out.
out.
This is the last show, baby. This
All
is
right,
it.
all right.
mean,
I got a question for you. Mention a little sports in.
Yeah. Please.
If they asked you to perform at the Super Bowl, would you ever do it?
Ooh, wow.
Considering we talked about, I don't know if you were here for this, Chris.
No, I
we
wasn't
talked
here.
about
Thank you, Chris.
he's not. He wouldn't like at a certain point. It gets to be like too much of a bubble around you. But I don't want to take away the
So
answer.
I would say, you know, the NFL has gotten a little ridiculous, hypocritical, if you will. So I would say no, only because if they asked me to perform at the Super Bowl, I was already mad famous, you know, and I wouldn't necessarily need. And plus, you're never gonna do a better show than Bruno Mars.
That's true. What about like All-Star Weekend for the NBA?
Yeah, for sure. All-Star Weekend in the NBA is probably the most fun, like, hangout session that you could have, especially in the rap music. Because NBA players want to be rappers, and rappers want to be athletes.
Rapper go to the league.
Yeah, for sure. And Damian Lillard, shout out to Damian Lillard, he actually has super bars and hits half-court shots to win.
Really? So, do you have any? Have you, through your time in music, have you ever had any personal relationships with athletes, or
mean,
on like an entertainment level where you'd see them out and you just hit
for
it off?
sure. You know,
stories.
I have my photos with like Dwayne Wade and cats like that, but my friendship is actually, I don't know if you guys know this name drop would be Shavlik Randolph. Do you know Shav? Shav played for the Sixers for a little bit. He had a little bit of time
What
with
year?
So this is probably 08. Look him up. Look him up. Shavlik Randolph. You know, and then I've had my my disputes with JJ Redick and the Dukies. It's because I root for Maryland basketball.
Okay.
And so
you're in the Terps.
So a Millie, when a Millie first dropped, I did a remix and was talking about all these people and spending an exorbitant amount of money. And I said something about when you get to the league and don't do anything like JJ Redick. And he had just gotten to the league. Again, I hate Duke. And,
no way. And he said something.
Well, we ended up linking after hearing that. He called me and was like, "Oh yeah," you know what I mean? And
What's up now, man?
I kind of single-handedly take responsibility for motivating JJ Redick to be one of the better shooters in the NBA of all time.
So you gave him
because
motivation.
Of me. Absolutely. You know?
Wow, JJ Redick. I mean, hey. You know, as long as he can hit the shots for us.
I'll give you that. You got all the credit, man.
As long as he can hit the shots for us tomorrow. So I looked up this
Shavlik Randolph.
He plays for the Beijing Fly Dragons.
Yeah,
now.
he's in China now. He's in China.
You gonna visit him?
I want to. We've actually been talking about it. China's just a long trip, and I don't necessarily want to go to China.
But he went to Duke.
He went to Duke and then played for the Sixers. So Shav's story is really incredible. He was actually like a top recruit coming out of high school with Carmelo Anthony and Amari Stoudemire. And Shavlik Randolph was like right there. Yeah, he might have been higher than Amari Stoudemire maybe. So white kid, 6'10" bull, could like cross you over and shoot a J like, you know, Porzingis before Porzingis. Right. And he ended up committing and going to Duke. Which again, it's kind of like similar story, right? It's like, Asher, how do you feel about I Love College? Like you putting out such a polarizing record, did that change your career? Rah, rah, rah. Same thing you could ask Shav. It's like, Shav, your decision to go to Duke, did that change the outlook of your career? Because he was forced to go play down low and play big instead of being like a 7-foot shooter.
That's what developed him for the NBA.
Right. Well, also at the same time, and like changed his game up, and so he banged bodies down low. You know what I mean? And so he got.
So they didn't want him to be the start of the stretch 4 era.
He got
Shav
hurt.
got
It
worked
wasn't
down
ready
low.
for the stretch. Shav was before his era. Yeah. So he came to the Sixers.
Put him 10 years in the future. It's a different story.
You know, exactly.
While,
you put him in the league now, coming out, it's different, and he's kind of draining on fools.
He played the 05 to 08. He was with the Sixers.
Yeah, and so right around 07, 08, what happened was he was starting to get minutes, and Shav was kind of like a fan favorite. These are the teams that really didn't have anybody on them, and Shav's starting to get minutes, and he's like, you know, out here putting up like 8 and 8 or whatever it is, like a nice little double off the bench. Loving this dude. Goes to practice and just shatters his ankle, man. So he comes down, one of those things where just like the ankle touches the ground. One of those everybody's not looking, Paul George, I'm not ready for this.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's had to slowly come back from that. He got some postseason Celtics minutes around the same time, 08, 09.
Yeah,
And then
08,
just
09.
decided I'm going to go to China, ball out in China, and have fun out there. And I actually commend and get down with the kids who don't play or would be bench players in the NBA to go play and have life experiences in Europe or China.
Now, that's an interesting topic as well, because I honestly respect the guys who go overseas and play basketball.
For sure.
Who would just be sitting on the bench and not. It's because think about it. Depending on what, like, if you're sitting on the bench in the NBA, right? You're probably making, what do you think, like 500,000, a little over 500.
That's
maybe
probably
like $1 million.
league minimum at this point. Yeah.
Like $1 million if you're
Sure.
like a 12 man.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Which is not a bad salary.
That's
by
not
any
not a
means.
bad
And
setup.
you're in the league, bro.
Yeah, right.
You're making $800,000, whatever it is.
You're
right?
going. You're playing a game in LA, and you know you're not playing the next day. You go club it on a Friday.
Yeah.
night.
I
Like,
think
you're in the
that's-
league.
I think that's why a lot of guys rather do that, because if you go overseas, I don't know how much money they're making. I think they're making a lot of money. Like if he's in China, he's making a lot of money because
Right.
China, the market out there and the commercialized, all that kind of crap.
Right.
He's making tons of money. From
And
that.
he's like a 6'10" white guy who stands out. If he's
Exactly.
walking in the streets in China, everyone's like, okay, this dude is somebody.
right.
you know?
And I guess it has to, it has to make sense for you to go.
Right.
I feel like it probably made sense for him. And
You
he
know-
had like 3 years in the NBA already.
We were talking about, Matt Walsh from, I think he went to Germantown Academy. He's another kid, like around our era. Such an interesting story. White boy went to Florida, baller. But he had an interesting thing because,
Here he is.
so Matt Walsh has an interesting story because he was kind of at Florida playing really well, and he had an agent get in his ear and say, yo, you could go to the league. And everybody wants to go to the league.
02 to 05. And
Yeah.
I want to
think-
go to the league too.
When did
but
Florida
You know
just
what I
didn't
mean?
pan out.
It just didn't pan
When did
out.
Florida win the chip?
Exactly. And so
All right, go
he
ahead, go ahead.
leaves because the agent, and this is why it's like, yo, enjoy college or enjoy like going to Europe or whatever it is, because he gets an agent, goes to the league. Because he got an agent and didn't get drafted, he couldn't come back to school. Can't come back to school, and Florida ends up going back to win championships with like Joakim Noah and
Yeah.
Al Horford.
Oh my
all
God.
those dudes. And I'm just like, my heart breaks for Matt, because it's like, man, like imagine being part of, like, I don't know if he would have been a senior or what, but imagine being part of a back-to-back your college basketball team. You don't have all of the antics yet. It's not about just like straight up staying healthy and getting endorsement deals and like taking care of your family. You're with your boys playing like, for the best team in the country. And like that to me is kind of fire.
Wait, this is pretty interesting. I'm reading his Wikipedia. It says Walsh played high school basketball with future rapper and record producer Pitbull.
There
for
you
2
go.
seasons.
Really?
And they won the state semifinal. And
There
they
you
made
go.
the state semifinal.
Wait, so
Pitbull was
where's
nice and
where's
ball.
Pitbull from?
Let me look. Hold on.
Yeah, hold on. So
I
wait.
thought Pitbull was old.
I
I
thought-
guess he's not.
I thought Pitbull was
Wait.
also like straight up and down Miami. So wait,
Yeah.
Pitbull's from
Matt
He was
Walsh.
born
You
in
can't
A-
trust everything on Wikipedia. either.
Yeah, that's true.
Cuban, Miami, Florida.
My Wikipedia is wrong.
Is it?
I was never signed to federal prison. Like Retro House Record never came out on federal prison.
That's
So that's how I know if my Wikipedia is wrong. What other misinformation are we
Right.
getting?
Growing up, he was influenced by Miami, South Miami Senior High School.
So what's up with Matt Walsh though? I thought he played ball locally around. He's
Let me
from
look.
around here.
Let me look. I'm going.
They
back.
must have played in like a celebrity
back, I'm
game or
going
something.
back.
Because Pitbull is a little bit older for sure.
Pitbull will be 50 and still making rhymes about like women and
Germantown
we have music
Academy,
videos
right.
like
Germantown
some.
How
Academy.
did they play together?
I don't know. That's
been, like,
that's a
eight-
great fun fact
Yeah,
though.
we
Yeah.
gotta find that. I mean, maybe they. Oh, you know what?
Could be like
You know
AAU.
what?
Right. Right.
Someone is someone messing? with
Probably.
Wikipedia? Is someone joking?
Yeah. Probably.
Is
We got got.
Guys, I think we're getting fooled. I think someone's messing with the.
Yeah, there's
Wikipedia.
no way someone local's playing ball on the same team for
I
2
don't
years
think
with someone
Pitbull
from
even
Miami.
Played the guy. I think
Yeah.
they're just messing.
That's
with us.
Wikipedia
I
for
think
you.
Walsh's friends may have gone on Wikipedia
There you go.
and edited
Or
it.
non-friends.
Yeah, non-friend.
I was in. What was the? It's not NBA Live. What's the?
NBA Live was the best.
2K. I was in.
No, but Live was the best.
You're right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Live was the best.
I was in NBA 2K as a character, a secret character back in like 09.
Okay.
It was
Actually?
dope.
Did you play with
so I
yourself?
kinda got it. Yeah, it was like I made myself like 6. They asked me like, "Yo, what are your measurements?" I was like,
6'8".
Yeah. I'm like 6'4" and draining threes, and it's so funny when people send me like footage of them
beyond the
playing.
arc.
Yeah,
You were nice. Were you banging on people?
banging on people, bro. It was real nice. Yeah.
They were just like
That's so
go
cool.
one-on-one on blacktop with like Shaq or something.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
oh,
Just like, let's go. But yeah, there's those sports games, and like that's what's gonna be crazy for our like this upcoming generation. Philly's building the esports complex going down, and
Yeah.
like the gaming world's gonna like when
You
you're
gotta
talking
get involved
about.
with that.
Would love to, man. You're talking about playing Madden and stuff. Like, there's getting to a point where there's gonna be serious money for people who like create themselves.
I saw an article the other day. It was like, how does the esports world and like, because every NBA team has a team of gamers that use like their team, use their logo, use their branding, and it was an article about how does the Warriors esports team help the actual Warriors team play basketball?
Right.
It's like,
what are they
crazy.
saying? It does or it doesn't?
I didn't read the whole thing, but like they it must be a little bit about how the team looks to like not necessarily like formations, but like how do they play in
I see
game,
what
and
you're
how do you
saying.
take that to
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Like, and also the kid, I think who got drafted #1 overall in the esports world. Like when he came up, he kind of had this whole demeanor, like, yeah, I'm the best in the world. Like he was truly getting drafted into the
Sure.
league, and that's
the same thing as every other young kid, young bull getting drafted.
Oh man, I'm like, what are your strengths? He's like, I'm good off the ball. Like, you're just like, this is crazy. But I don't know. I'm really intrigued by sports gaming and sports betting. I think those two.
Sure.
Potentially, specifically with me, I would say NBA and NFL. I'm curious to know how much sports gambling is going to change the game itself. Because there's going to be so much money involved. And, like, how do you... Like, that dude, Ed Donahue, already came out and was like, yeah, I was fixing games.
Are we going to take ourselves back to the Shoeless Joe era and
like,
the
on
White
those-
Sox?
You know what I mean? And
So
on those
interesting.
sports specifically, you can pretty much call foul on anything, and you can pretty much call holding play whenever you want. And so I'm really
You can
concerned
really fix the game.
that our
And you think-
baby is gonna just like go into the world and just get
So you
completely.
think refs would fix it? If they, is it,
I don't know. This is conspiracy
all-
theorists.
it's all
Don't
con-
listen to me, guys.
This is like a Wikipedia page we're putting together, yeah.
Because I think about this stuff all the time, and it's like, if someone with billions of dollars was like, yo, I need them to win, I'll give you $3 million. Okay, let me call a foul.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna call it foul.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll call a foul too.
Little
You-
Tim
sure.
Donahue
I mean,
action.
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
Tim Donahue. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that just makes total sense. If you want 3, but I mean, it's your funeral.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like, sports are so important from a community standpoint. Like, this is what, like, the kind of the lowest common denominator that everybody can get behind. It's like, oh, no, I'm not talking about politics. Oh, let's not talk about tech. And they're like, you like the Flyers? It's like, yeah, I like the Flyers. You know what I mean? It's a
so funny.
great starting point, right? And so it'd just be a drag if what makes us gather on a Sunday, or like, everybody rallies around the Sixers, suddenly becomes like fixed. Like, it's like WWF. You already know who's going to win.
You're
type
saying
thing.
wrestling is fake?
Wrestling is fake, bro.
Well, this is the first time I've heard of this.
I have a rap song
Well,
called
can you
Wrestling is
bet
Fake.
on wrestling?
No.
Yeah, 'cause
Oh, you
that's-
might be able to. Yeah, but it is scripted. You can bet on anything, bro. You can bet on the Oscars.
You could bet on
That's
the
pretty
Game of
much
Thrones.
fixed.
I saw you could bet who's going to die next
You can
week.
bet on Game of Thrones. That's already set in stone. If somebody has insider trading information, they
Yeah.
know what's going to
Like
happen.
the director.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think
Yeah,
you
the
can pull
director
some
put $1 million
strings
down.
Wait, why wouldn't if you
Ah.
were directing Game of Thrones, why would you not just put $1 million down that
you
this
got
was
any,
gonna
put a
you
happen?
got
fake
any,
name and put down money.
You got any plugs or connection in the throne world? You maybe could help.
Yeah,
us out
let me
with?
see
Maybe
what's
throw-
up.
maybe throw a rack on.
Hit up my
somebody
girl
dying.
Emma. Yeah.
Be like, listen, what do you? My buddy needs a little information.
Do you watch Game of Thrones?
I don't.
Yeah.
Do you watch? I know you watch.
I kind of fell off for a little bit, and just from a pop culture standpoint, now just been witnessing what's going on in the conversation. Just, there's like an awkward Arya sex scene last time.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So there's like interesting things happening, but pop culture, man. That's all.
To me, the craziest thing about Thrones, like the big narrative around it, is that this is the last show that anybody is going to just collectively watch live on TV.
Right,
Like,
right.
Our parents' generation, that's just the way the game went. Like, my
Right.
dad always talks about, you knew every like there were like 10 channels. You knew every channel, you knew every show, and you knew exactly what time it was going to be on, and you would get home for 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock, and watch that show.
Right.
Next day, you're talking about with your friends.
Right.
This is the last show that's going to happen, because the way Netflix is evolving and all these streaming platforms, they're just releasing a season at a time.
Sure.
And it's like you watch on your own, no spoilers.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, right, is the live discussion that's going on. So if you didn't watch Game of Thrones and you go on social media, you end up finding out what happens.
Exactly.
So you kind of have to watch. So yeah, it's all
a good
pretty
point.
crazy.
Yeah,
Life is tight though.
Yeah, hey.
Life is great.
It's tight.
It get weird sometimes,
Yeah, it
but
does get
overall
weird.
it's tight.
It does get weird. I was actually with the comedy stuff. You know, you're talking about observational stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All of my stuff is observational,
Mm-hmm.
and you're speaking weird. This is a little off track. I was at a restaurant the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and I was actually at. You know where I was? My buddy paid for. That's where I went. Tria,
Mm-hmm.
really good, phenomenal, expensive, but I didn't pay. So
That's over. Is it on Walnut or
Rittenhouse?
Rittenhouse? Yeah.
Whatever. And I've never seen service like that, like
Mm-hmm.
they have. Like we were getting double teamed by our waitresses. And waiters. Like seriously, like,
You were
I
getting
was
what by your
observing,
who?
and I'm sitting here, and I'm like, I'm really trying to put this joke together. I'm trying to write this joke, and it's like I'm sitting here, and it's like I've never seen service as well, where it's. I got one lady come in like making sure my water's good.
Mm-hmm.
She's worrying about my water. She's clearing the cusp of my with a napkin. She's
Whoa.
wiping off the top
Whoa.
of my drink after I sip it.
I wouldn't be into that.
And then I get another guy. The other guy comes around. He puts the napkin on my lap.
Whoa.
That's
The-
weird. That's the
The
line.
fork over here, the knife over here, and I'm just sitting here. This girl's cleaning my glass. This
Right.
guy's laying the napkin on me with the fork. And I'm just observing, so I don't know.
What did you order?
I ordered. What did I order?
Did you go meat option or you didn't go vegetarian in that?
No.
And
I
you
went
have a-
meat.
you have
We went like appetizers.
Okay.
I forget what we got.
Did you have a
though.
third person come over and like start to pick up the fork and the knife and cut it
Well,
for
no,
you?
it got
and then
really weird.
open,
because it got weird because I felt like. And then we started competing. We were the two were competing, trying to see, and we were making eye contact with them, like, so which guy's gonna come over and do the next deed for us, and do.
So are you a good tipper?
I had to tip him well.
Yeah.
I had to. I didn't have an option. It was like if you're bringing two for us and you're doing extra stuff, and there wasn't just the cleaning the glass. There were other things that I got to really remember. And it was,
I would deduct negative points for cleaning the glass.
Would you?
If the glass was dirty, I'm like, excuse me, sorry, let me get you a new one. I'd be like, all right. But if somebody comes around and I sip out of a glass and then they just like wipe off my mouth, I'm like, fam, this is unnecessary, and I'm deducting 2 points from your tip. You know? For sure.
Me and my friend, we were looking at each other, and we were like, he looked at me, he was like did that just happen?
So your friend picked up the bill?
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
he nice guy. Well, he dropped out of college 2 years ago, and he does
Nice.
real estate.
And now he's
And
making
now
real
making
money.
A lot of
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
And so, and when I get out of college and I'm making money, I have no money now because I'm busy in audio.
Because
for
you're a
media.
college athlete and you can't get paid for it. You know what I mean?
Why don't we get paid for this?
Yeah.
We should be getting at least 9 cents an hour.
Our work
Yeah.
isn't good enough.
I mean, get myself a Jolly Rancher.
Yeah,
from Seth.
.0032
It's
cents a stream.
experience. It's- you get paid with experience.
Experience, the
Yeah,
greatest
that's
teacher.
What they say. Yeah,
Right.
Experience.
I wish we had a commercial for Experience right now. It's just like, welcome to Experience. It's not. It's. I actually
That'll be the
dig
name
that.
of the podcast, the
Experience.
documentary
Welcome to
put together.
yeah.
Where you make
Welcome to the experience.
Experience, the biggest moneymaker.
Yeah, for sure. And like they do it all the time in music. Oh, dude, like you get paid in exposure, and it's just like, look, bro, I can't pay rent and thank you,
Yeah.
or anything like that. So it's kind of
That's the funny thing.
it's a cool conversation, specifically the college athletes getting paid, and like, what do you do, right? Because if you pay the college basketball players, do you pay the swimmers?
right.
They're
And
not
do you
bringing
are you
in-
paying
So
them the same
the
amount
best-
of money. What are the swimmers doing for you? What do they? What?
But they're working just as hard, if
hard
not
as you.
harder.
The best
Exactly.
argument I've heard, and actually I have no idea what his name is, but Ethan, you had a guy come on that we spent a show talking about it a number of weeks ago, and he said that you shouldn't pay any athletes. The NCAA shouldn't do it.
Roth.
Yeah, it should all the money, because like you can't pay Zion and Alex O'Connell the same money. It should be, if Zion wants to go to shoe deal, let him go get a shoe deal. If Alex O'Connell wants to get a deal from his aunt's dentistry, he should be able to do that.
Right.
So like they should be able to get sponsorships from anybody they want. And I don't know if you heard about this Kyle Guy kid from Virginia. He's a senior at Virginia and he's trying to get married, and he's not allowed to release his registry.
Oh yeah.
Because it violates NCAA policy of him receiving gifts. So he has to hold off on his wedding and release hold off on releasing the registry until after he's graduated, because he's still an NCAA athlete.
That's pretty interesting.
Right?
But I'm with that. I like that theory of like let these kids accept money.
Yeah, they should just be able to accept.
If you can get money, get that money.
Yeah.
You know
because
what I'm
because
saying?
if they can get that money,
get the money,
Get the money.
if
Yeah.
they can get that money, then it eliminates. Like you have Louisville scandals or this Auburn scandal that's coming up where coaches and scouts are paying players to come play for them. If they can make money in a certain way while they're at the school, they don't have the same incentive to accept this money, accept strippers coming to a school.
Facts. Have you seen the movie Blue Chips?
Maybe.
Peep Game. That's Shaquille O'Neal's in it.
Yeah,
and it's like touches
Good
upon
stuff.
like this stuff is happening regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like Patino and all those dudes, like Calipari is like.
They're all doing it, yeah.
It's just
Doesn't
like the
matter,
way
they're all doing
it's the way it goes. They're gonna find loopholes. It's the same thing in like politics and like
And
taxes.
it's
and
worse
stuff.
with the football. by
They're
the way.
gonna find ways to get
it
the
work.
advantage. Yeah. And so it is what it is. But at the end of the day, respect to the swimmers. Y'all are
Respect to the
working mad
swimmers.
hard.
Yeah. Well, Ash, we appreciate you for coming on.
Yo, you guys, congratulations,
fun.
Ethan, to you for running.
This is great.
Sam, hold it down, passing the torch.
Appreciate it,
If
my
you
man.
need me, I'll be around.
Appreciate it.
Good luck with everything. I appreciate you. I'm drafting you on my football team because you're gonna get the first down. He's getting me 5 yards in the NFL.
Awesome. Well, this is the main event. This is my last Temple College radio show.
Round of applause,
Of all
bro.
time,
Congratulations.
Shout out
bro.
my man Ethan.
This was a lot of fun. Thank you, Chris. For everything you do with the sports station.
Thank you, you're making me cry.
And Sam, you were great, and excited to listen to you.
You brought on all the interviews, man. That was all
It
you.
was
I
fun. It
appreciate
was fun.
that. We
It
had
was
a good time.
entertaining. We had a great time. And
So when you move out to the West Coast?
I'm hoping
You got a date?
I'm hoping before September. I gotta make some money. Gotta go deliver some pizzas. Be a waiter for.
I
few
delivered
months.
pizzas while the
Yeah.
Greenhouse Effect Volume 1 was out.
He's
Yeah.
going all Hollywood on us.
You gotta make that money if you,
You
want
got
to go.
to.
So appreciate you guys. It's a lot of fun. The main event. Last time sign out. Ethan Miller, Sam Cohn, Asher Roth coming on with us today. Thanks.
Oh my gosh.